Welcome back to the Varsity Voices, our Prognosticus episode, where we dive into the matchups and make our predictions for this week's slate of Chicago Catholic League football games. I'm Joe Frevaletti, and here with me is my co-host, Dan Frevaletti. It's week 5, and the season is heating up. Standings are tightening. And every Friday night under the lights brings us another round of rivalries and statement games. Tonight, we'll break it all down for you. So strap in because the prognosticus is here and it's time to separate contenders from non-contenders. So Dan, I gave you a bit of a hard time several weeks ago about even mentioning BATW, backs
Yeah,
against the wall.
right.
But as I was looking at the games this week and some of the records and the teams, that is where we are squarely at
Oh yeah.
this point in the
Oh
season
yeah.
for several teams, right?
Yeah.
In the Chicago Catholic League.
Yeah. BATW. They're getting CCL'd. You want to pick it. Go ahead because
Yeah.
there are some teams that are feeling it, and I bet practice reflected that this week.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Some of the teams that I'm sure they're feeling it. The coaches are feeling it. And when you look at we're halfway or going to be halfway through the season, and some of these teams are really thinking that, hey, if we don't get a win this week, we are in trouble. Right?
Yeah. They will never say that they're looking ahead, and to the team or say that to the team, but within staff meetings, within friend groups or whatever, they are looking at schedules and trying to count to 5. How do we get to 5? For some of them, there are some that are going to coast to 5, but there's a whole bunch of good football teams that are looking for 5 wins.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this. Anything with your prognosticus this week, Dan? Mine was kind of quiet.
Yeah, he was not too I think he felt like it was fairly easy. I did not. There are some games that look like they might not be all that close, but there's some games that are going to be a challenge. And I think if you just look at the records, I told him you can't just look at the records. You've got to see, who they've played and what type of team they are, and are they improving even in a loss type of thing. So he doesn't look at that. He can't be bothered with that. Looks at the record and clicks and taps and screeches.
You listen to this and do it. Do as I say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is. It's interesting. We're back into intra-division play.
I'm not even going there.
Did anyone give us a suggestion? Come on.
I know.
We've got a lot of listeners and followers too.
We do.
It's not like it's just you and I talking.
Yeah. They either don't want to be bothered with it or they don't know either.
Right. That's what we're going to say. Yes.
Right. All right. So let's get started here. And I'm going to start, with the blue division. We've got Brother Rice versus St. Patrick or St. Pat's. And St. Pat's is your team this year, Dan.
Yeah, they were my surprise pick in the purple and my surprise team. I still am there, Joe, and they are 3-1. Their only loss is to 4-0 Yorkville.
Yeah.
So that and that being said, Brother Rice is a different animal. So
this year especially.
Yeah, they are a different animal and they have a ton of talent and they seem and feel like they're on a mission. So while I think Pat's is pretty good, and I think the purple needs to watch out, as DePaul Prep found out, but I think this week it's probably asking too much at Brother Rice. So my pick is for Brother Rice.
Okay. Yeah, I am. I'm picking Brother Rice as well in this game. And I like what St. Pat's is doing right now. I really do. And their win over DePaul Prep, which I did not predict last week. I think you might have.
I had to stick with them. Yeah.
Yes, you've stuck with them, and I think that's probably a good pick. But this week I think Brother Rice is on a mission too.
Yeah, yeah,
And their defense is just going to be too much for St. Pat's. Even though I'm looking forward to watching some of the film of this game and watching those big guys on the defensive line, offensive line from St. Pat's, defensive line from Brother Rice. I'm looking forward to watching that a
yeah.
lot.
Joe, I'm glad you said that because we didn't have info on DePaul Prep and St. Pat's last weekend. I was able to find the film and watch it. It was an awesome game.
Yeah,
It was awesome, but DePaul Prep scored big plays. They had big plays that either put them right there or got them in the end zone. And St. Pat's was very methodical,
yeah,
and it is not just that. I think we talked in the off season or before the season about the big O line, and they're good, and they've got a good back, they've got a good quarterback, they've got receivers that make a play. They're gaining confidence, and you can see it by
yeah.
watching the video.
They are, and they've got a good quarterback, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
for
Gavin
sure.
Gardner.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I am going with Brother Rice as well. And Dan, I told you before we hopped on the air here that I've got um, I've got my hashtags for each of my picks this week.
Okay,
So
let's
I'm
hear it.
picking Brother Rice. So I am hashtag on the crusade.
The Crusade.
Do you like it?
Right. No, yes. I thought you were going to be like, yeah, fighting. Yes, yes, I do like it.
All
On the
right, good.
Crusade. Yep,
All right,
good.
good. All
Okay.
right, so let's move on to Mount Carmel and Bennett.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and I like what Bennett is doing so far. I mean, they're 3-1. Mount Carmel is 4-0. Um, but I'm just not sure what Bennett is going to be able to do in this game against Mount Carmel. So one thing I wanted to ask you, Dan, is all the other games in this division are at the Blue Division, their home. Why is this game at Bennett?
I don't know. I don't know if it was all flipped last year. Last year it was at Mount Carmel. So
Huh?
I saw the same thing, Joe.
Yeah,
Didn't know
interesting.
why it would be like that. Yeah.
Yes. So, not that it's going to make a huge difference in this game, but I think Bennett, maybe stays a little bit close, in the first quarter, but I really feel like Mount Carmel kind of rolls in this game. By halftime, um, and I hate to say there's going to be a running clock, in this, but I just don't think Bennett has the size, talent to stick with Mount Carmel in this game. So, um, I'm rolling with the caravan, Dan.
On the Crusade and rolling with the caravan.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe, St. Ignatius provided a framework for
Yeah,
almost a half last
I
week.
do like that. I like the way you frame that this
Yeah,
week. Yeah.
yeah. And so Bennett has a nice little running game developing. Joe Salvino is kind of reminds me of an option team fullback, and he kind of
Mm-hmm.
rumbles and stumbles his way, and he's going to protect the football. He finds open space. I think if you can do that, if you can control the clock, by snapping it late, if you can not give up any special teams touchdowns or turnovers for touchdowns or in your own territory. If you can,
Right.
just if you can play a clean football game, I think you can get through the game without the running clock. But the talent disparities is significant, and I think that Mount Carmel's just got too much, and I think we could probably say that in a lot of games with Mount
Yeah.
Carmel this year. So
Yes.
so Bennett's not unique in that, but I am picking Mount Carmel.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next game, and that is St. Ignatius versus St. Viator. What do you think about this game, Dan?
2 1-3 teams, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So must win
So
scenario
BATW for
for
sure.
both. For both.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think St. Viator has to. I watch them and I feel like they move up and down the field. They've got to learn how to finish offensively, and they've
Yeah.
got to be a little better against the run. They have allowed too many rushing yards. Not a great scenario when you're going to play St. Ignatius.
Right.
Because St. Ignatius is going to do what they do. and I think they're going to be able to control the ball, which, in my opinion, is going to be the key factor with them getting the victory here. So my pick is for Saint Ignatius.
Okay. I am going with St. Ignatius as well. I like what they did against Mount Carmel last week, even though, it was pretty lopsided
Yeah.
loss. But, I like the way they really came out and they battled, right?
Oh yeah.
Knowing that they were at a bit of a talent deficit. So, um, I like the way coach has them playing, and I think they're going to play well in this as well. This game is at Ignatius too, so I'm going to pick Ignatius. So I am running with the pack, Dan.
Nice. So you are on the crusade, rolling with the caravan and running with the pack.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
All right.
Let's.
Do you like it so far?
I do. I feel like there's a trend. I feel like I could maybe guess the next one.
All right, for sure. And that is Loyola versus DePaul Prep, right?
Yep.
I'm not sure if you're going to be able to guess this one,
You got to
but
let me give you a guess.
yeah. But you go first,
All
and
right.
then we'll go from there.
All right. So yeah, DePaul Prep, BATW for sure.
Yes.
But that being said, I think this might be a closer game than what people might think. I think whenever there's familiarity, which there is between these two teams, it can make the opponent not as, I don't know, monumental, in as what Loyola might seem. And both
Yeah.
teams are building experience, and I think DePaul Prep can score.
Yeah.
So all that said, I still think Loyola has too much. And is playing with a lot of confidence. They're at home. So my pick is for Loyola.
Yeah, I think Loyola, I think they've got some really good pieces in place at quarterback, at wide receiver. Their offensive line, I feel like, is playing well. They're young, which I don't feel like we've said about Loyola over the last year or couple of
No.
years
Nope.
that they're young. So,
Mm-mm.
I feel like they're kind of coming into their own. They've had some good wins. They beat St. Francis, who we know is really good. They beat Maryville, Indiana, who is a good team, and they fell to Brother Rice, who we know. We're on the crusade, right? So,
Right.
Brother Rice is on a crusade this year. So, I am picking Loyola as well in this game. So I am
Hold on. Let me guess.
all right.
You're stumbling with the Ramblers.
No, we're going to keep on rambling. How's that? You like
Good.
that?
Like them all so far.
Yeah, you were close.
Yeah.
Yeah, stumbling is not a good
You're going to
word.
be stumbling as they ramble.
Right. No, I am keep on rambling with the Ramblers. All right.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So let's go to the St. Rita at Notre Dame game. So do you think there's going to be a home field advantage for Notre Dame? I know we talk about playing at Notre Dame all the time, and such a great environment, great experience to play there. What do you feel about St. Rita traveling out there, Dan?
I
And
think. Oh, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
was going to say, and they are definitely backs against the wall.
Yeah.
I think, yeah,
Yeah, and I think you could say Notre Dame at 2-2, same thing. Now, different
yeah,
scenarios where we picked St. Rita to be one of the better teams in the league. They both teams really need a win, and while I
yeah,
think Notre Dame is improved and continues to get better, I think St. Rita still plays a little better complementary football, and they are probably feeling the squeeze a little bit to live up to their preseason goals.
yeah.
So I think whether that pressure crumbles them or it inspires them. I think I'm going to choose that it's going to inspire them this week. And while I
Hmm.
think ND is pretty good and figuring some things out, my pick is for St. Rita.
Yeah. And St. Rita's schedule has been just ridiculous,
Yeah.
hasn't it? I mean, they
Yes.
lost to Mount Carmel, they lost to Brother Rice, they lost to St. Francis. I mean, three really good teams in
Yeah.
the Chicago Catholic League. We know that. And I think they kind of get things right this week, and they put themselves back on track. So I am picking St. Rita over Notre Dame this week as well, and I am on the Mustang Charge. Yeah.
Mustang Charge.
All right, you like that or
Yeah, you
not?
couldn't do riding the Mustang, right?
No, we
You're
already got
already
riding the
riding
Bronco.
the
Right.
Bronco.
Yeah.
The
So this is
Mustang.
the Mustang Charge.
Mustang
All right.
Charge. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So how about IC at Marist? So IC started out really well, right? 3-1. Now they had a tough loss last week, but they played really well in that loss. Marist, on the other hand, 0-4. Who would have thought that, Dan?
Yeah.
But one of the things I was looking at when I was reviewing this game and some of the stats behind it is, Marist only has 4 starters coming back from last year's team,
It's
which we
unreal.
know was really good.
Yeah.
So, can you say that Marist is rebuilding?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think you have to.
I think you
Yeah.
have to, right? The problem is they're running into a team I see who I feel like is on the up here, and who's really talented and has got talented players on both sides of the ball. And I think even though this game is at Marist, I think IC has got some momentum here. So I'm sitting at the round table again,
Okay.
and I'm going with IC in this.
All right.
All right.
Joe, so we've talked about we talked about their loss last week and how you could potentially feel good or find a lot of positives in losing to a highly ranked NAS team. They
Right.
probably felt they should have beat. Marist has to treat this and the rest of their season like a playoff game.
Yeah.
And they have been good, just not good enough. Is kind of how I feel that they've been. Joe, I'm going out on a little limb here, and I'm gonna go with the Red Hawks. So
You are.
yeah, I am. I'm picking what you probably call an upset. So I'm taking Marist at home to get their first win. I think IC coming off that emotional game at NAS.
Right.
I just have a feeling Prognosticus was all over me. Tap tap screech screech claw
Said,
claw.
don't do it, don't do it, don't do
Don't
it.
do it. Don't do it. So, but I'm doing it. I'm going to pick Marist.
Okay. All right. And you just mentioned Naz, Dan, and the next game is one that in previous years has always been a huge game, and it's Naz versus Joliet Catholic. I'm thinking this year might be a little bit different from that standpoint. What do you see in this game, Dan?
You said it's always a tough game. The last 2 games for these 2 teams have been decided by I think 2 and 3 points.
Right.
So all in favor of Nazareth. There is some history and a rivalry here, and at JCA this year might be tough. Might be a tough game for Naz. I still think they have a talent edge. I think JCA is still kind of working against the grain a little bit and trying to get used to a different offense and that sort of thing. But so I think Naz defensive talent has the edge over JCA and Naz pulls this one out.
Yeah, and you mentioned talent edge, right? And I think Naz has a talent edge on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
You mentioned defense, offense too. They've just got so many weapons, and I know Joliet Catholic has been kind of developing on offense and developing some weapons as well, and kind of searching for a bit of an identity on offense, but I don't think they're going to be able to hang with Nazareth on this. And even though this game is at Joliet Catholic, I think Nazareth wins this game. I think they might win this game pretty easily, Dan, in my opinion. So I'm clearing the road for Nazareth. All right.
I thought for sure you're going to go beep beep.
That's out there. But
That made the list.
it did. No, I am clearing the road.
All right.
That's for Nazareth. Okay?
Perfect.
All right, good. All right, so the next game is St. Francis and Providence, and I want to hear your take on this first, Dan, because I know you're kind of on the Providence bandwagon
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
This game is at Providence. What do you think, or what are you seeing in this one?
Joe, this is my game where my notes are all bold red
Yeah.
because I think it's the best game of the weekend in the
Okay.
Catholic League.
Yeah.
Yeah, Providence hosting St. Francis, both teams 3-1. St. Francis is rolling, and my concern with them and with some of the other these some of these other teams that we've talked about in the past is how are they holding up with their numbers and
Yeah.
injuries and Providence has them in numbers. This game is at home. Might be trouble for Francis. That's kind of, I still feel that little pull that. I think Providence is better than we think. I think they might need to see some improvement in their passing game, but I know they're a handful on either side of the ball, and I'm taking the home team, Joe, and I am going with a home field advantage. I think it's a pick 'em on a neutral field. I think it's Providence winning at home.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one of the things I'm concerned about with St. Francis so far, even though I know they have a 3-1 record and they're playing good football
Yeah.
and they've got a good quarterback, I have not seen anything that mentions Zach Washington. Have you?
Yeah, here and there,
A
but
little bit?
not like
Not
last year. I know
not
what
like
you're
you
talking
think.
about. Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm a little concerned about that. I know they have other weapons
yeah,
other
they
than
get
Zach Washington, and I'm sure defenses are game planning for him as well.
right.
But I think they got to get him more involved some way. You got to get the ball in his hands. But saying all of that, I do think that St. Francis, even though they are going to Providence, I think they put it together this week, and I think they go in there. And I think it's going to be a close game. I really do, but
Yeah.
I think St. Francis pulls it out, and I am Spartan strong, Dan.
All right.
All
You're
right.
not you're not you're not the third wave of 300. You're in the 900s.
No,
I'm not. I'm in the third wave.
I'm just going to go with Spartan strong.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever I end up in waves, that's fine.
Right.
I'll,
Right.
I'll keep circling around to the back. Yeah.
Yes. I've got your 6. Everybody.
Right, exactly. All right.
All right.
So, where are we at? We're Marmion and
Yeah.
Montini.
We are in red versus white.
Red versus white.
Yep.
And this is tough, I think, for the red, these matchups. But
Yeah.
what do you think about Marmion and Montini?
Marming keeps getting better, and they already
They
have
do.
one like so-called upset, I think, this year. And the way they handled Saint Viator.
Yeah.
Montini has just had emotional game after emotional game after emotional game. Excuse me. And I think if there's a letdown, they can get beat. But the old saying is defense travels, right?
Yeah.
So your defense is going to show up, and Montini's will have to, but I think it will, and I'm picking Montini.
Yeah. And I know we were out there giving Zuko's Dog of the Week award to Vinny Testa, the linebacker for Marmion. And, I think Coach Guerra said, they were really kind of pointing to this game. They weren't looking forward, but they were
Right.
really looking at this game. And this could be a statement game for them. Um, but I don't know if they've got enough, right, to not only be able to score against Montini, but really be able to hold Montini's offense down, who I don't think has been quite as explosive as last year. For some reason, Dan, even though they're winning, they've got Izzy Abrams, they've got some really good receivers, they've got good running backs, all of that. Um, but I just don't feel like the same kind of explosiveness that they had last year on offense, even though their defense carried them throughout the entire season as well. All that said, I am going with Montini in this game. I think they go into Marmion, play at their field, and I think they win. But I think this is going to be closer than some people might think. So I'm riding the Bronco in this
Okay.
game, Dan.
All right.
Yeah.
We're both on it. I hope it's got a strong back. We're both right in the Bronco.
Yes. we may need a bigger horse.
Yeah. What do they call the Budweiser horses?
Clydesdales.
Yes, one of them. One of these teams is going to have to go with Clydesdales.
Yes,
that way we could both ride it.
Oh gosh, right.
Every week.
The Varsity Voices guys are coming out. Bring out the Clydesdale,
Clydesdale,
instead
yeah.
of the thoroughbred,
Right.
The Bronco. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We'll just put a Bronco sign on it.
Yes,
Try and fool people.
Or just a big donkey.
That's more appropriate.
Right, for sure. All right. So the other game is De La Salle and Fenwick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know the challenges that De La Salle has this year. They've had some moments. They've got some young talent. I like that about them. I think it bodes well for the future for them. But they are going up against a Fenwick team that is really kind of top notch. Got some really experienced and good players. And I think is just going to run up and down the field on De La Salle and really hold them to nothing as far as from a offensive standpoint for De La Salle. So, I am going with Fenwick in this game, Dan, and they're going to knock the block off of De La Salle.
Yeah, Fenwick will knock your block
off. That's your
off.
phrase, by the way.
Right. Fenwick will knock your block off.
And I'm co-opting it.
Take it. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think it's a win for De La Salle that they're going to play their fifth game. There hasn't been any mumbling about missing games or forfeiting. So that's the good news here. Yeah, bad news is that Fenwick is just so far ahead of them in a program, coming off a tough loss. We know Coach Battaglia, and I bet their practices were not fun. Right. So, yeah, and so they have a really good amount of toughness. They're going to be focused. It's at home. I'm going with Fenwick.
Okay. All right. So let's see. I believe this is the last game, Dan, and this is second to last game. So we've got the Leo St. Lawrence game. And tell me what you think about this one.
St. Lawrence just has too much at this time for Leo. Yeah. Same kind of thing as Fenwick and De La Salle. I think Leo is a little further ahead. Well, I know they're further ahead than De La Salle. They have pieces in place that are going to get better and going to be a problem for this league in a year or two, but just not quite there yet. They're still kind of in the program building stage. And while you can say the same thing about St. Lawrence, they've got some pieces in Corey Less and that are established studs. So I'm sure that both teams have plans. Are planning to win the game, obviously, but we just would like to see Leo keep progressing and St. Lawrence try to continue to develop offensively. I'd like to see them maybe be a little better in the passing game, but they are my pick this week, kind of going away from Leo.
Yeah, I think they're my pick as well this week against Leo. I think St. Lawrence has just got too much from a standpoint of talent, really up and down the roster. One thing I would like to see with St. Lawrence is, if they're going to really make a bit of a run here, they've got to find a couple of other guys who are going to step up. Right now you've got McDermott, their quarterback. You've got Corey Less. I think Noah Turner is the sophomore who kind of comes in and provides a little bit of a spark.
Yeah.
Which is all good. But I think in order to compete with some of the bigger powers, so to speak, within the Chicago Catholic League, you're going to need to develop or need to have a couple of other guys step up as well. All that said, I'm going with St. Lawrence in this, and I am rowing with the Vikings.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've talked about star power, Joe.
Yeah.
With Corey Less is there. I think St. Lawrence could use another one or two that jump out. To kind of take that next step. I do think a lot of it might be on their own line, but yeah, they're going to play hard. They're going to play good defense, and they're going to come away with the win.
There, I love what Coach Swanson is doing there.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's got them really primed every week to play tough, whether they win or lose. He's got them ready to play, which I like.
Yeah, they're bought in for sure.
For sure,
they literally can say row the boat. Versus PJ Fleck, who has to bring it, make it some weird thing in Minnesota. All four of them, but yeah, they literally can say, get on, everyone row the boat together. So
yeah, we are rowing with the Vikings.
Right.
It's
kind of cool. Good. Cool, actually.
Yeah, I like it.
Me too.
Okay. All right. So this is the last game, Dan, and this is Marian Catholic versus Carmel. I believe this is at Marian Catholic. Do you happen to know how far apart that is?
66.7 miles. Joe, do you know what the commute time was when I checked today?
It's got to be close to 2 hours.
1 hour and 42 minutes. That was at 5:13. Yeah. So they. I mean, we say this every year, but they should have left and got a hotel tonight. So that's early. That's early dismissal for sure.
Oh my gosh,
for sure, especially for the young guys.
Into school.
Oh, they're gonna love you. Yeah.
The bus should just pick them up at their houses.
Right. Oh, that'd be great.
Go right out there.
Yes.
Yes.
It'd be nice if you could go to class at the other school for the day.
That would be fun.
Yeah, that might be interesting. That might be interesting. Yeah. Joe, that the commute is hellacious. Marian Catholic got on track last week against Leo, but this is a tall order for Marian Catholic. Right. Carmel can see the playoffs in front of them. Right. Their schedule finishes with a gauntlet in week 6 through 9. Yeah. Marian has to get an upset and still have others to have a chance to make it in. But I think Carmel is we talked about Brother Rice being on a mission. I think Carmel's on a mission as well, and that's my pick.
Do too. Yeah. Yeah, we interviewed Trey Taylor, right? And we could tell in that interview that he's on a mission too.
Yeah.
They did not like what happened to them last year.
No, they didn't. They didn't want to use the CCL as there were no excuses. They weren't worried about the schedule. Coach McKee was way more relaxed about it, but Trey Taylor was fired up in late August. Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
And, so play with an edge. I like it.
He does. He plays with an edge, and he's not afraid to put it out there either.
Yeah,
good or bad.
Right.
When he plays good, he's pretty humble about it, but he does put the information out there. When he plays bad, same thing. He puts the information out there and says, I should have done better. I like that in my leader.
For sure. You've got to have it. You've got to have it for people to follow, for sure.
Yeah, so I am picking Carmel as well in this game, even though they've got that horrendous commute out to Marian Catholic. I think, they continue to roll here. They go to 4-1. So I am part of the Corsair crew, Dan.
All right.
Burn
the boats. Yes.
Burn the boats. Right.
Yeah. The Joe, do you know the shortest commute this week off the top of your head?
I do not.
In the same divisions. So St. Lawrence at Leo or St. Xavier, 6 miles.
Really?
So, yeah.
I didn't realize they were that close.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. All right. So they've got to get to St. Xavier University. Is that St. Xavier University and right. That's, but even if they were going to Leo, it's almost the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yep.
All right.
What's
the next shortest? You know, I was going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, there were a couple I was looking at that I thought might be in the team picture, like DePaul Prep going to Loyola. It's a little farther
It's a
than you
little
think.
further. Yeah.
Yeah, Montini to Marmion.
Yeah, that's
That's
not
like
bad.
16 miles. A little again farther than you think. I know when we used to be at Northwestern and come out to Aurora, we felt like we were going to Iowa. So it does feel a little far when you get out there, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, well.
not that bad, not that bad,
Not
not
that bad.
nearly as bad as what. It's not so much. I mean, 66 miles is a lot, but it's like what the number of cars you're going to be in with for that 66 miles is just daunting to think about.
And the bus rides are fun. Even though
Oh,
you talk about how daunting the mileage is and the traffic is going to be terrible, if you and I were to sit down and be reminiscing about some of the best times we had in high school, it was on those bus rides.
oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah,
They,
yeah.
yeah, but they're so small now. I can't get over how
The
small the
buses
school,
are?
but well, like the space they like are fitting more seats in. So I'm not a big guy, and I've got. I mean, I'm a big guy. I'm not a tall guy, but I've got short legs too. I'm all torso, and
That's a curse of the Frevalettis. We
yes,
are a lot of torso.
yes. So, but I'm just kind of like I can't. My knees hit the seat in front of me. And
Yeah.
I used to ride the bus when I was coaching with another coach, Coach Chevelle, who used to say, "Yeah, I think I'm going to take a little nap." And I swear on everything, he would say that. Within 10 seconds, he was sleeping. I used to say, "You're not
Can't do
asleep,
that.
are you?"
Yeah.
And he would wake up and laugh. He's like, "Always been a gift." I'm like, "Wow, it's
Good
unbelievable."
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Joe, we made it through. We're at, like I said, at halftime of this week. They will be in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Some teams have to buckle down, but others can kind of remain calm and focused and get through the second half. Crush
Okay.
it.
All right. Good. So that's going to wrap up this week's Prognosticus episode with our predictions here on the Varsity Voices. We've looked at some of the battles, the playmakers ready to shine, and some of the storylines that will define this week in the Chicago Catholic League. Now it's over to the players, the coaches, and those Friday Night Lights to write the next chapter. We'll be back with full recap, shout outs, and of course, a crowning of next week's Zuko's Dog of the Week winner. Until then, enjoy the game, support your schools, and remember, this is where high school sports talk lives. So don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.